folks, it's time for this week's Jungle Drums, but before we begin, just a friendly reminder about tomorrow, Friday, June 16th, at 9 p.m. till, well, till whenever. We're kind of aiming for about kind of 1ish, but we will see. Anyway, tomorrow we are playing through the Turing Test. Fab game, came out last year, really quite enjoyable, and basically, you know what? Here's your chance to win your very own copy for PC. PC only, I'm afraid. It's just the easiest way to get hold of codes and whatnot, because when you get in a console, it's just a real pain. But anyway, so tomorrow night, going to be playing the Turing Test, and you'll have your chance to see the gameplay, see if it's something you like. Graphically, great game. And the puzzles are quite challenging. Anyway, really, really great title. And of course, this is brought to us by scholarlygamers.com. And make sure to check out scholarlygamers.com for to stay up to date on news. It's a different type of news site. It's how to describe it the best. I mean, it's a news site for gamers and just gaming culture, but from a different perspective, not the usual kind of clickbaity. I'll get that word right eventually. Clickbaity titles. It's just good, solid news. That's for sure. But so anyway, it is time for this week's Jungle Drums, which is an E3 extravaganza. So I suppose you could say it's E4, not the channel, but E4. I am joined this evening by Kronos, who's a fellow scholarly gamer. I'm not sure if he's there or not. I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Hello, I am here.
Excellent.
How is the how do I sound? Do I sound all right?
Yep, no audio. I've just adjusted you. You sound good on my end, sir. So you do.
Perfect.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, or your involvement with scholarly gamers and whatnot, and just let us know who you are.
Well, I kind of partially run some of the video editing and all the video stuff for the site for scholarly gamers. On top of all of the news articles and game articles and streaming we all do. We also try and bring out at least relevant gaming news for videos as well. So that's kind of what I try and pull off. And, I work with you the most for that kind of stuff. And it's been great so far. So thanks for having me on, man.
Hey, no, it's always a pleasure. Right, so today for the E4 extravaganza, E3, this year's E3 2017 has been controversial to say the least on the internet. When you look at the wars that are going on and speculation, folks saying, oh, this show was crap, this show was crap. Anyway, we'll try to cut through all of that fanboyism bullshit, right?
I'll try and keep my biases out.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a bit of subjectivity. There's nothing wrong with that. But one of the descriptions I found for this year's E3, which I think is quite apt, is it was described as a filler. A filler E3 where surprises were scarce. When you think of last year's E3, and I think Horizon Zero Dawn caught a lot of people off guard, I don't think...
it did.
I don't think we were caught as off guard this year. But anyway.
No, there were a couple titles where I was like, yeah, that's really good. But for the most part, it didn't really have the same wow as it last year did.
Yeah. Basically, what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to try to be as structured as we can, but, this is Jungle Drums, so there's no doubt there'll be a couple of tangents, a couple of rants here and there. But we're going to try to go over first the Xbox conference, then we'll move on to the Sony conference. We have to talk about the Nintendo conference. And then we're going to try to talk about developers that stood out for us. These, totally personal opinions of Kronos and myself. And then we'll move on to developers that disappointed us. And lastly, just our kind of closing overall thoughts of E3. What we personally would say was the best of show, the worst of show, or, just anything else. So that's the plan. So why don't we just get stuck right in with the Xbox conference? I watched it live, and of course, if you were watching it on Mixer and you had 4K capable, displays and whatnot, the entire broadcast of the Xbox conference was shown, at 4K on Mixer. That being said, yes, wow. Oh yeah, no, it was a big, huge deal. And then the other thing was, if you were watching on Mixer, you were going to get what they called a Mixer pot, which was a bunch of free stuff. So I got Rare Replay. I got a couple of like indie games. I got the Warthog for Forza Horizon 3.
What?
Some kind of Minecraft pack. Oh yeah. No,
So they're really pushing this whole like Microsoft supports Mixer and Beam and like all that's like
absolutely.
they're just
absolutely.
digging right into it.
The
That's
Mixer
awesome.
booth
That's
this
actually really
year
good to see.
at E3 was pumping. I mean, they had the exclusive to Sea of Thieves and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. So anyway, so it was a big deal for Mixer, but at the same time, you know, it's still. The platform is still growing. There's some technical aspects. Chat was an absolute disaster. The chat servers kept disconnecting. You know, so it's like, well, wait a minute. How the hell am I supposed to be getting this free stuff if I'm not even connected to chat? And so there was a few hiccups. But as far as video went, the video of it was absolutely fine.
Wow.
So that's not too bad.
I
But
actually missed the Xbox conference.
oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, I kind of know tidbits on it in and out, but I actually did not get to catch that one yet. I've heard good things, and what I do know about it, I was blown away. But I guess some of it was still a little just subpar.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, you know, they said right away, look, it's going to be longer than 90 minutes. In retrospect, Phil Spencer, you know, and I think he says this every year, but, you know, he came out and said, look, that was our best E3 ever. That was our best conference, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, to be fair, obviously the star of the show for Xbox's conference was the Xbox One X, which I'm pretty sure most folk are still going to be calling Scorpio for the next year, because Scorpio rolls off the tongue. I mean, I saw this wonderful image on Twitter that showed, okay, a picture of the original Xbox, and it said Xbox. Then to the right of it, it had a picture of the box that it came in, the actual, you know, the cardboard box.
Oh, yeah.
And it said Xbox box. Then it had an Xbox One. And then it had the box. It said Xbox One box. Then Xbox One X. Xbox One Xbox. I just thought it was quite a clever little play on words.
They need to, I think they should have stuck with Scorpio, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think most people are probably going to stick with calling it Scorpio, to be fair.
Well, so many are going to be like, is this Xbox 10 now? Is that what it is? Like,
well, yeah, yeah. Did you see that too?
Yeah.
But okay, you know, without getting too, you know, hyped up and excited about the Xbox One X, I mean, there is no denying the hardware looks impressive, right? I mean, I don't think anyone would debate that. I mean, the thing is, when we're talking about software, I mean, the thing that they said at the beginning of the conference for Microsoft was, oh, look, we're going to be showing 42 new games, 22 of which are exclusive. And you think, oh, wow, holy shit, you know, they're going to bring out the big
really
guns.
Good.
They're going to bring out the big guns. As far as first-party titles, there was only one, and that, of course, was Forza Motorsport 7. Right? That was
no one's really that. Like, I'm not a Forza fan, and not many people want to buy an Xbox for Forza.
You're right.
It's
I mean,
not going to sell consoles.
It's niche. I mean, here's where a bit of my bias comes in, because I have been a Forza fan since 2, and I've owned and played every. I mean, to put it in perspective, I was a Gran Turismo nut before that. Right? So,
that was a good game too. Actually, Slender, that's a good. Yeah.
Yeah, we will get to that. We will get to
that. Yeah.
But so like Forza 7, yeah, you know, like you say, if you're not into racing games, you're not going to be that impressed. And so for me, I was watching, I was like, oh my god, you know, dynamic weather. They're bringing in the big rigs, the trucking.
Well, it's going to be 4K, is it not? Like,
4K.
Are they actually going to push it that far? Yeah.
From the early, whenever they leaked the stuff a few months back, it was running Forza 7 at 4K at 60 frames and only using up 66% of the GPU.
Well, that GPU is a beast.
Yeah.
So that, I can see that actually.
It's got headroom. It's got headroom. So that was, that's exciting for all the Forza fans, but at the same time, it's like, well, wait a minute. That was the only actual first-party title for
so what
Xbox's
were the other
conference.
21 exclusives?
Well, the kind of exclusives, you got to keep in mind now, Microsoft are doing this whole universal Windows platform. So there's a lot of games that are coming out on PC and Xbox. Things like Cuphead. It was great to see. We finally got a date for that, September 29th. I believe.
Well, I think they already did.
They already did, man. This is the biggest thing. The thing that put me off about Scorpio was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to buy a really badass TV to take full, to take advantage of it. But no, it will. What it does, if you have a normal 1080 display, it'll super sample. It natively renders at 4K, but then it super samples it, so it's on a 1080 display. It's similar to if you've ever used a PC with an NVIDIA graphics card. They have a thing called the DSR factor that you can ramp up. So you can make a 1080 display look like 4K. The thing is, it uses a shit ton of GPU power to do that.
Yeah.
But basically it removes all the jaggies. So this is the nice thing about the Xbox One X, is that natively, all your normal games, even without any special patched in optimization, are going to run and look better on the Xbox One X. That's a fact. That's not opinion. This is the technical teams came out and said, no, that's straight out the box. Every game that'll happen.
Well, and looking at the specs they put out, you're like, yeah, this thing can do that. Mm-hmm. Like, it can already happen for that, especially since, like, if we look at a normal computer and be like, hey, like, my computer has better specs than that or similar to that, like, yeah, but our computers are doing everything.
Yes.
All these specs are going towards one thing, and that's just gaming and making sure your game runs as best as it can.
Exactly.
So it's going to do it. I think it's looking like it's going to be jumping the bar when it comes to consoles.
Yeah, it's and the thing is though, I mean that's the whole thing, is the games are natively being developed. Forza 7 was 4K 60. As far as other games, we don't know. I mean, already we're looking at some things that it's on the dev to actually do that.
I mean, well, and I think native games for the Xbox One X are going to be 4K 60 FPS, but again, like, actually this was brought up in one of our chats here that Destiny 2 could have been possibly, because the PC's going to run it at 60, so why wouldn't they do it on Xbox?
PC's uncapped.
So it's going to be crazy.
If you've got, two 1080 Ti's and SLI, then the sky's the limit for you. You can run that, as high as you want.
But with Xbox One X, the servers are also being connected to Xbox One, so everyone's thinking, well, it's going to be locked at 30 because Xbox One can only do that.
Yeah. And it's the kind of thing that comes down to anyone that plays first-person shooters, like competitive ones online, that knows that if you can run a shooter at a stable 60 frame, FPS, it's just a better experience. So I think this is the issue. If people on One X are running it at 60, but people on the One and the One S are at 30, those guys at 60 are going to have an advantage in Crucible 100%. And in PvP aspects.
They are, yeah. So they have to make sure it's locked to the same FPS on all servers. If they're doing server platform like that, but they are, like, Xbox One is going to be just Xbox One X and Xbox One are still going to be using the same servers. So
yeah, I mean, the One X, I don't want to talk so much about it, but it really was, you could tell that's what their focus was this year. The big deal was the release of the price. They came out and said, look, $500 US equates, well, it doesn't equate, but the price that's going to be here in the UK is £450. I'm sure in Canadian it'll be,
we're looking at about 600.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Which for me, people, for a console, that's expensive. Don't get me wrong, I get it, that's pricey. But for me, and my computer's no slouch, but to get 4K 60 frames per second, I would have to spend $800 on a video card. And even then, my processor might be a bottleneck. So I might be looking at having you know what I mean? So when you look at it through those eyes, and I think this is the problem with the Xbox One X, it's not, it really is aimed at the enthusiast market. These people who want, maybe they're into their PC gaming, but they don't have the money to really, spend $3,000 or more on a PC.
Yeah.
This kind of gives them that experience. But yeah, I was quite impressed. I mean, when it came to the games, though, I mean, it was a little underwhelming, Kronos. I mean, there was, Crackdown 3, which we've seen for the last, how many E3s?
That should have been out ages ago, yeah.
Ages ago. So we finally got to see a bit more of that gameplay, and there was a release date. November 7th is when that's coming out.
Finally a release date.
Finally a release date.
And I don't even know what Cuphead is, or whatever that is.
Oh,
I keep
Cuphead
seeing it come
is
up,
this
but I'm like, what is this?
beautiful, difficult gaming. It looks like a cartoon from the 20s or the 30s. Just like, you have to go watch it. Just go watch it.
That's pretty cool.
I can't even explain it.
That's good.
See, well, it depends, Slender. It totally depends. I mean, because on one hand, you know, yeah, if you don't, if you would, how do I put this? If you've ever seen, like, firsthand, because you can't get a proper representation online, but once you see firsthand a game at 4K, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it's
definitely for like the graphics junkies, the ones that are going to be all about it. But even for me, like, it's going to run better than my Xbox One.
Yeah.
Any game I play on it right now, even though I don't have a 4K TV, it might look a little better, but it's going to run better.
It's smaller, it runs cooler.
Yeah.
But for some reason, they're only putting a 1 terabyte drive in it, which just seems...
Well, I guess they had to put a cut somewhere.
Well, the thing is, I mean, it's okay. It's more than the original, I suppose, but at the same time,
I have a 500 gig.
Yeah,
That's it.
You know,
So...
but 4K games, that's gonna take But I think most enthusiasts, I mean, because I know has an external hard drive for their Xbox. It loads quicker and it's better.
Well, that's one thing. Like, a lot of the, like, I wouldn't really want to use this term, but like the casual gamer, I guess, for consoles, they're not going to think this is going to be worth it. They're not going to know what it can do or what it's about. But again, like you're saying, for the ones that are on PC, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I got to buy a whole new computer if I want this, but I can go spend $600, and that's the same amount as a graphics card for me.
Yeah.
So the ones like that, that's definitely who it's amped to.
It's evening up the playing field. I mean, I like to use this example, right? You know, there's been quite a few games that have the Play Anywhere thing, like Gears of War 4, that weird platformer Record that came out the other year.
It was cool.
It was cool. All of those games, the minute I played them on PC, I never touched them on my Xbox One ever again.
No.
It was night and day difference.
Yeah, the only reason I went back to Gears of War 4 on console was to play with friends. But any chance I had, the moment I had it on there, I was just playing with them on that because it was cross-platform in that way too. And it just changed the whole game. It was amazing. Whereas
now, the possibilities of the One X, okay, yes, I would have to get a really nice TV to take full advantage of it, but, you know, I'm sitting at a battle station here that's a few thousand, right? Our money, UK money.
Yeah, so I'm looking at maybe that's like a $5,000, $6,000 maybe.
Right, so the thought that I could spend 450 quid, and okay, yes, another 600 or 700 for the TV, but I could spend $1,000 to get an even better play experience. You know, that's going to be cheaper than what I'd have to spend to upgrade this. It just is, for me, it's a no-brainer.
Well, yeah. And, like, actually, this was one very good point, though, and you brought it up, too, that the games are underwhelming right now.
They are.
That they brought out this fantastic console, but nothing to go with it.
It's just, you know...
And that's...
I mean,
people
look...
are thinking that that's going to be their downfall. If they don't come up with something within this, like, half a year before it comes out, why would anyone want to buy it?
I mean, the thing is, too, you look at one of their other big news items was, hey, look, we're going to have support for the original Xbox games. Crimson Sky... I mean... Really?
I'm excited, but for the nostalgic stuff, it's not like it's not going to be good.
But it's not even going to be that many. They've came out and said, actually, look, don't expect anywhere near the same amount of titles as what's on the 360. So it just seems
only a couple games I'd want to play again. From there, so they got to make it a good one. They got to make it a good list. Yeah.
I suppose the big thing about the Xbox conference, and it's funny, Slender, because it kind of goes into this, was even so this game is not exclusive to the Xbox, but the first time we really saw, you know, a good amount of it was at the Xbox conference, and that, of course, was Anthem. Now, I would love to play a clip of Anthem, but all the E3 footage on the internet is holy shit. They're getting hit with takedowns on YouTube, something fierce.
I've seen that, actually.
So I've left it alone. Just go to YouTube, right? Search for Anthem, and the footage is just amazing. Like, Kronos knows that I like Destiny, right? I played a shit ton of Destiny. I was looking forward to Destiny 2. Now, after seeing Anthem, I'm not even sure I'm going to bother with Destiny 2. That's how hyped I am.
Yeah, if Anthem comes out to do what it's showing and what it's saying, which it looks like it's going to, especially on the Xbox One X, that's a console seller.
The cynical part of me, though, goes, wait a minute. Yeah, whenever they first released Destiny at E3, when they first unveiled it, it was very similar. This promise of a huge open world and all of these things. Yeah, that was the big open world where, you got into the suit and stuff. It looks fantastic.
Flying around like Iron Man, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Software-wise, Xbox, I do not think had a very good show. I think their hardware, absolutely fantastic. Another interesting thing was they didn't mention anything about VR, right?
Well, apparently, I read an article just yesterday or day before that came out, said that they're the Xbox One X does not have it.
See, well, that's interesting because the article I read just today was a confirmation from Microsoft that the Xbox One X is VR compatible and will support VR.
Well, because even last week it said that it was there, but they're not working on it yet.
Their focus at the minute is PC, because the thing we're waiting on from Microsoft are these cheaper, newer headsets. Because right now, you have to buy a Vive or an Oculus. Whereas allegedly Microsoft's coming out with some other ones that are more affordable. So they're really focusing on that at the moment. But I think, again, I think it's a lot of the haters on the internet here, but it's going to be capable of it. They just haven't put the focus. There's also a little bit of conspiracy theory going on that it was actually out of common courtesy, since PlayStation, as we're about to talk about, focused quite a bit on VR. So there's there's tinfoil hats going around saying that this was professional courtesy. That actually Microsoft said, okay, right, we won't do anything about VR since you guys are doing that this year. But
you kind of called that last week too. You figured PlayStation was going to do that, and I was like, really? And sure enough, it's pretty much what they did.
It's just, we might as well I think we've talked enough about Microsoft.
Yeah.
It was decent, but definitely not the same. I think last year they had a pretty good show, but this year...
I don't remember what they announced last year, but this year, nothing... I'm not even going to remember it at all, except for the Xbox One X. There's nothing else.
Let's talk now. See, for the Sony one, I was actually involved in a Scholarly Gamers roundtable. Me, Grant Patterson, Christian Vasquez... Vaz.
Vasquez,
Lord Smithius, I think Jay Rankin was there, and so we all got together.
You guys.
Yeah, we got together on Discord and basically watched it together. So it was quite good because a lot of them, let's be honest, were Sony,
Oh, they're all Sony.
They're all Sony guys. Lord Smithius, I think, was the only one who wasn't.
Really? Oh, yeah.
But so it was good. We were able to watch it, and it was quite funny because initially their audio was really, really messed up, and we were making jokes about it, like, they need to fire Greg. Greg, you had one job, because you couldn't hear a single thing. But
I'd seen that on a couple of them this year.
Yeah,
the audio was kind of messed up.
Hey,
a lot of desyncing and all that kind
of
stuff.
Kronos, me and you, we know firsthand how tricky setting up audio can be.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. Trying to do it live on that big of a platform, I wouldn't want to do it. Greg would be in trouble though. If he's the one guy standing there,
and he was in the back having a smoke break.
Exactly.
Oh, damn it,
no,
Greg.
it's all set up. It's like, no, it's not set up.
Now this is what I find. Again, I'm trying to look at the PlayStation 1 quite objectively, because if I'm honest,
like the PS4.
Well,
or PS1. What do you mean? What?
The PlayStation, the actual.
Oh, conference. Okay, I get it. Yeah. I get it.
Because there's a lot of reaction, and a lot of it comes from the very, very strong PlayStation side of camp. I like to think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I like to think I'm not like a huge, Microsoft or forever. But I just felt slightly underwhelmed with the PlayStation conference. Now, don't get me wrong, there was some amazing stuff. The Shadows of the Colossus remake.
Yeah,
oh my
that's exciting.
God, that looks so dope. That game looks...
Monster Hunter.
The new God of War.
That one was their big announcement last year, and that really, that's what I got to see live last year from Sony, and I was blown away. This year they showed a bit more. It got a little more hype, but I was expecting a bit more.
Or even, what about that? Did you see that Detroit Become Human? That, a new IP looks really, really quite cool. The big thing is actually how the game's going to go depends on your choices that you make. So, they showed a brief screenshot of all the possible kind of story change, and it was just massive. It was huge. So that looked interesting. That looked very much like one of these, almost like a film that you would play through. That type of story-driven, very cinematic type of game. So, I mean, I think when it comes to games, PlayStation definitely did well this year. Days Gone. Days Gone looked nice. That one was pretty sick with all the crazy... It's a big open world zombie survival game. Basically it involved there's other bad guys there as well, right? But what you can do is you can manipulate the zombies. For example, go and hiding somewhere, making a really loud noise somewhere else, and it gets the attention of the zombies. And then they charge in through the camp and...
Oh, yeah, that one I saw. Is that the one you're driving around on a bike too? A motorbike?
Yes.
That one looked really good, yeah. So, no, Sony did a good job. And I'm thinking that other panels had other VR games they announced, and I'm wondering if they're coming to PS4 as well.
I would
Bethesda's.
Think so. I mean, because when you look at, I think I don't have the exact numbers, but I want to say that the PS4 VR is one of the most used VR headsets at the moment.
It's the most affordable and most comfortable from all the panel. For everyone's what they're saying, and it runs really well. It's really smooth.
But speaking of VR, that was kind of one of the things that a lot of people were slightly peed off about, was that for them it just seemed that there was a lot of focus on VR, which I'm not sure is necessarily fair, because we had all these other game announcements, but I can get what they're saying, especially when there was very little new VR stuff. What did we look at? Oh, Fallout 4 VR. Yeah, we knew about that. Oh, look, Skyrim in VR. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Doom
VR. Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah. So, actually, there's a couple there that I think would be really neat. The one that Elijah Wood was a part of.
Oh, God, yeah,
I'm completely blanking on the name right now, but that game looked really good. That's gonna be trippy. If because that just looked, even just the trailer itself was what is actually happening? Is this a movie? Is this a game? Am I able to do stuff? It looked that's a really good mixture of the two medias at least.
I'm the same. I've drawn a blank on that game. I know exactly the one you're talking about.
I just watched it today too, but...
Oh, damn it. It'll come. It'll come. But no, there was, I think game-wise, Sony delivered a strong conference in that regards, but at the same time, if I try to be objective about it, a lot of it was just remakes and sequels. Aside from Detroit Become Human and then also the Days Gone, there wasn't much absolute brand new stuff.
I think that game was probably called Transference. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's ringing.
Yeah, it's Transference.
That's ringing a bell. Even things like Beyond and Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Uncharted.
Some people were so excited for that one.
Uncharted: The Lost Legacies, that looked cool. But yeah, a lot of it was just sequel. Aside from that new Spider-Man game that's coming out, that That looked so fun. Just
when I first saw it
open
come
world.
up, I'm like,
yeah. What?
Like Spider-Man meets Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, and comic nerds are going ballistic. I was like, holy crap, they're not using Peter Parker. That is actually Miles Morales or whatever. Like and I was like, that is awesome because we don't get to see much of him. He's one of the best Spider-Man that's come out in like the last decade, and I was like, yes, that's going to be so fun. But gameplay-wise, it looks awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be good.
I'm trying to remember. Last of Us 2, if they did or not.
I don't think so. I didn't see it come up anywhere.
No.
That would have been a big one too.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I don't recall much of a talk about that. Of course, well, another sequel that both conferences talked about was Destiny 2. Showed off a bit more of that. And okay, yeah, that looks cool. We found out, of course, that PlayStation gets, if you pre-order the game, you get access to the beta, I think a day or two before Xbox pre-orders. But even that, the exclusive pre-order beta is only like 2 days before the open beta for everyone else. So it's not a huge motivator, in my opinion.
It's for those guys that are just like, I really want to get in here and do way better than everyone else, so I'm going to go in 2 days extra and beat the game before everyone else can.
Unfortunately, the PC version isn't coming out till October, and I think the beta's not till, I think, August or something. Oh yeah, Battlefront 2 as well, Slender. That actually looks pretty... That looks like a proper Battlefront. You know,
that's what we should have got.
It's the Battlefront we deserve, not the one that we got.
Yeah, exactly. That actually looked really good. So we'll have to see how that turns out. Because like, even though the first Battlefront looked amazing and like they were showing all the stuff we never got, so we'll see if Battlefront 2 really delivers. I'm kind of leery.
we've got to talk about. You know, I'm not huge in the fighting games. I mean, I was when I was a kid. You know, I was one of those kids that I could put a quarter in the machine and I would be there all afternoon. And, you know, folk would just come to whatever it was, if it was Virtua Fighter, Tekken, Killer Instinct, Mortal Kombat. I was really into fighting games, but I haven't been for a long time. But that being said, that new Dragon Ball Z fighting game...
That looks like they're doing a real good job on that.
They're only about 20% through that game. Like, it's really, really early, and it looked that amazing.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that puts a bit of context to it, you know what I mean? When you think, wait a minute, this is like a build that's only got about 20%. Wait, what?
That's really good. Well, and the one thing with like the newest Dragon Ball games that's been coming out, it had a neat idea to start with the one that would kind of, the time traveling one. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because the games are the exact same every single time. You play through the exact same storylines, the exact same fights, and everything. It's just different platforms will do it differently. So I'm hoping this one will change that up a bit and make it a little bit better. But we'll see. We'll have to see. Like, I know Everyday Legend there, Grant, he's going crazy. He's like, hey, no other fighting game exists anymore except for this. So that's his big thing, is that. So
definitely hyped up. It'll
be fun.
But I mean, that's the thing.
There was no. Oh, go ahead.
No.
Oh, there was no announcement of the new Gundam game, was there? That didn't have a spot.
No.
Gundam Versus?
No. That was
That's
absent.
out in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not being marketed, and
the States, that should have been though. That would have made a big impact, I think.
You know, it's the same. Like the one thing I was looking forward to ahead of this E3, which before E3 even happened, it was announced that there would be no news of it, was Death Stranding. That was the game I wanted to see more of. And obviously that's a PlayStation only game, but
I don't think I've heard of that.
Death Stranding, that's the Kojima one, Hideo Kojima.
Oh,
with Mads Mikkelsen and... But
okay.
no news.
No.
Speaking of from Japan, which of course Hideo Kojima is, that ties us into Nintendo. The Nintendo conference. I mean, this was one that I think a lot of people that weren't expecting much. They were thinking, okay, we're going to hear obviously about Mario Odyssey, which the more we see of that, it actually looks pretty cool.
That looks especially if you're a good Mario fan, you like those kind of games, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
But we had even more Mario. There was there's a crossover, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle that comes out.
That
and
looks so good.
it does. It looks pretty crazy.
I did not expect that. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It was one of those like, what?
Yeah. But it was interesting. Nintendo, they didn't do a stage show like the other guys did. They just did a pre-recorded 30-minute stream, effectively, filled with all their announcements and their footage. But the things that they came out with, the two biggest ones I think for Nintendo were they're working on a Pokemon RPG for the Switch. So that, I don't think there was that much info about it, but...
No, I'm really hoping they finally listen to what everyone has been telling them since like Pokemon came out, and that's give us a good Pokemon game on console. Mm-hmm. And the Switch is the one to do it. So we're gonna see if it actually does. Like I was probably more excited. It really came out of nowhere, but I was more excited about what I saw with Nintendo than anyone else this year.
Yeah. No, I mean the big one.
I did not expect that.
I think what caught a lot of people off guard was Metroid 4. Reaction of like, there's all these GIFs and videos, over Twitter of showing like crowd reactions to the Metroid 4 announcement, and people were just completely losing their shit.
Like the last Metroid Prime didn't go too well, and Nintendo kind of dropped the whole thing. So to see that this year, and they kept that under wraps, that did not get leaked anywhere.
No.
Like at least like from what I saw. So like having that come up was like a holy crap, that is amazing.
Even things like the new Kirby, new Yoshi game are coming. Not till next year though, but
it's still there though. Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles. Did you see that one? Xenoblade Chronicles 2, kind of a cartoony Japanese RPG game.
Oh, the first one was awesome. Like it was very JRPG. Mm-hmm. But if you could get into it, it was really good. I didn't know they were making a second one.
Yep.
I actually missed that part of it somehow. Yeah. See, again, it just gets me even more excited for Nintendo. I really need to get a Switch.
Rocket League on the Switch? That sounds pretty dope, actually. I mean, I've got Rocket League, and I play it occasionally, but being able to play it on the Switch?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Well, and like Skyrim, again, another remake for Switch. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you saw when he was playing it, when he swung his sword, he was actually swinging the Joy-Con. He didn't have to hit a button.
Yeah.
So it has better motion control than like anything else does right now.
I know. This is the thing. When you look at the Nintendo thing, which wasn't even live, it was pre-recorded. It was only 30 minutes. But for me, it just kind of rises a little bit above both what Sony and Microsoft. Not trying to take away from those guys.
No.
They had a lot of cool stuff. But for me,
considering
Nintendo just got the emotional response. You know what I mean?
Well, another really big one I again did not expect to see was that Fire Emblem crossover with Dynasty Warriors game.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of Dynasty Warriors. It gets boring, it's repetitive, but I play them, especially all the Gundam ones. But seeing Fire Emblem come into it, like Fire Emblem is one of my favorite series from Nintendo. Been playing them since like the original Game Boy or whatever. So seeing that and like, wow, okay, that's got some potential.
I suppose an interesting aspect though of the Nintendo side of things, compared to the Xbox and the PlayStation ones, is that if you notice for the Nintendo briefing or conference, whatever you want to call it, it was pretty much all first party stuff, except for that Rabbids crossover. Everything else was directly from Nintendo, so there was very, very little, aside from Skyrim,
and Skyrim,
but everything was first party.
They were all their own titles.
Yeah, all their own stuff. The big disappointment, I think, for fans of the series, though, is that there was no news on a Smash Brothers for the Switch.
No,
I think,
it's coming. It's
got to.
Even
the way that you can have. I mean, I know out the box you can have two people playing, but is it possible to have? Well,
it's more. You can have up to, I think, 4 on one console.
4 on one console.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, you just have to buy $90 Joy-Cons. Mm-hmm. At least here they're $90. Like it's so expensive. But yeah, I think if you get enough of them, you can play more than 2 people. I
mean, the Switch just lends itself to Smash Brothers, in my opinion. It's
100%. Yeah. And the combination, like they're finally finally they can play Skyrim, so they're catching up to 360 and PS3, and some of the Xbox One and PS4 stuff. Because I guess it's Skyrim Enhanced Edition or whatever. So
yeah.
But the fact that you can take it anywhere and do all the stuff with it, and all the new titles they're bringing out for it, the way things are going for Nintendo this year, they're coming back. They did a really good job this year. It took them maybe 5 years to get it right, but they did it at least.
Right, let's move on to developers, and I'll start off with, in my opinion, the developer that stood out. Now, this is notwithstanding that, yeah, Anthem was amazing, and of course there's Destiny 2 from Bungie. You know, I tried to look at it as objectively as I could based on the amount of content that they brought. And anyone who's watched Jungle Drums in the past actually might not be surprised, because we end up talking about games from this company a lot without even really intending to. But for me, it was Ubisoft.
Yeah.
And the reason why, well, first of all, Ubisoft is actually the ones that are doing that Mario and Rabbids thing, right? That's from Ubisoft. I've got a real soft spot for Assassin's Creed. That being said, I still haven't played through Syndicate. I still haven't finished Unity, but that's because I've been so busy with Destiny, The Division, Siege, Wildlands. You know, I'll get back to them, I swear. But I've loved Assassin's Creed since the original one, and Assassin's Creed Origins looks like the Assassin's Creed that we've been waiting for a while. Because I think the last couple haven't been as amazing as they could have been.
No, and like getting a little more into the lore of that game, like the fact that the game kind of went downhill after one of their main characters, they killed them off. And since then, I haven't been that interested. The main overarching story wasn't there anymore. So maybe this one will bring it back.
Like even initially, like, you know, okay, you had Altair, and then when we had Ezio, we loved him, right? You got an emotional,
Ezio,
you get an emotional attachment to him.
Well,
and then even when we switched from him to someone else, at least it was still Desmond, right? And that's
what it was. Desmond.
It was Desmond. He was the common thing, and that's what kept us going. We wanted to know where the hell, you know. I mean, I got to the point where I was playing through the game just to get to the next cutscene of Desmond. I wanted to see what the hell happened.
And even the last game there, they finally started getting into more. It finally went to the point of being like in the futuristic world, being able to kind of be an assassin because Desmond was being trained for it.
Yep.
And then, why, Ubisoft? Why'd you do that?
I know. Yeah, and Revelations was a bit of a letdown.
It was weird.
Rogue was one of my favorite ones, funnily enough, playing as the bad guys. I actually really enjoyed that.
That was really good. And Slender, the Crew 2 does look really good compared to the first one, especially.
Yes.
The
Crew 2 was another standout because it just has more going on. It just looks like, you know, it just had a little bit of everything, right? There were supercars, there were bikes, there were dune buggies, there were planes,
there was
boats.
Planes and boats, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that looked
I didn't
quite
expect
interesting.
a Crew 2. I did not.
No.
Again, another title where it was like, what?
Ubisoft is responsible for that game you mentioned, Transference, with Elijah Wood. Ubisoft did that one.
That's one of their big VR ones they're talking about.
The one that caught me off guard, I just, for some reason, I had never heard of it, but it was the game that basically they took everyone's favorite part of Black Flag and have made it into its own game, and it's called Skull and Bones. And I'll tell you what, the minute I saw the footage for Skull and Bones, all I could think was, rest in peace, Sea of Thieves. See you later.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. Sea of Thieves is gone.
But you're dead to me.
Yeah. Well, just the graphics, the way that like the one scene there where like the guy was taking on the ship, and then the animation came up with like his crew going over and finishing off the rest of the crew in the other ship.
Yep.
And like, that looks so good. But till the very end, I loved it till the very, very end, and like the last scene with like the Kraken in the water. The whole thing is really good. Like,
yeah. No, I mean, and then Far Cry 5 again. I loved Far Cry's, but then, you know, I remember having the original when it brought like, you know, I actually had a computer that was able to run it at the time it came out, so it was always awesome. Then Far Cry 2 I actually enjoyed. 3 pretty good. 4 nah.
No, it started going downhill pretty quick.
So Far Cry 5 looks cool and interesting. So again, they showed that off, and then of course Ubisoft, their best kept secret was Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is actually a prequel to the original.
It's a prequel.
It's a prequel. Yes, sir.
I did not know that. And a lot of people were like, they're not going to make another one. Don't worry about it. That series is dead. But apparently not.
Apparently not. So for me, that is why Ubisoft stood out in my eyes as far as, you know, if we look at developers.
Yeah. No, they actually did a really good job this year, which is kind of scary for Ubisoft because it's not often that I get excited for them. Like, it's... Oh, no. It's like, I guess the last one that got me really good was For Honor for a bit, but that went downhill so fast.
Oh, big time.
And, I guess Wildlands is theirs too, right?
Yeah, Wildlands.
Ghost Recon? Okay, so that one was good. That one I could say was actually really good. But besides that, there wasn't much. So I'm excited for a few games from them this year, though. We'll have to see what comes up.
What about yourself? Is there a different dev that stood out for you? One that,
Oh yeah, but not for good reasons.
Oh, okay. So, but what about on the good side? What about on the plus side?
Honestly, we already talked about Nintendo. That was my big one.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
That was it. Yeah. Nintendo and Ubisoft took the scene this year, which is scary to say because, again, Nintendo didn't even have an actual panel. They didn't do a conference.
Yeah.
And they were probably one of the best ones I saw. So
now, for me, on the flip side, the dev that disappointed me, and I suppose, you know, it's not that I was expecting that much from them. And don't get me wrong, there was a couple of cool things we saw. But I think if I had to rank, you know, everyone together, Bethesda is sitting at the bottom of the pile for me. I mean...
They did so bad.
Okay, yeah, we get it. We're not going to get a new Elder Scrolls game for a couple of years, probably. You know,
and I understand Morrowind came out, they're playing that, it looks really good. They announced new DLC for the MMO, which looks really good. But what really bothered me about that panel is it was only 40 minutes long. And the first 15, 20 minutes was just them showboating what we already know.
Yeah.
They played trailers of all the stuff that we're already playing. We already know everything about it. So they're essentially patting themselves on the back. We did a good job here, guys.
I mean, look, their headlines were Doom VR. Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks. Fallout 4 VR. Well, yeah, we already knew about that.
Kind of expected that one.
Look, the Creation Club. Guess what, guys? We're going to bring paid mods to Bethesda games. Aren't you happy about that?
Some of that could be good, but it depends on the cut they're giving to the modder.
Yeah.
If the modder's getting a good enough amount from this, and Bethesda's I'll take a little bit, then awesome. That's great for those modders who actually do get official with Bethesda and all that. That's awesome for them. But yeah, no, that's not gonna make me want to play a game that came out 5-6 years ago over and over and over on every single platform. It's just not going to do it.
Or another one, well, hey, as a fellow Skyrim fan, surely you're pleased that you can, it's going to have Amiibo integration on the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Go run around as Link. And I was already doing that, though. There's already a mod that lets you do that. The Amiibo stuff's kind of fun from Nintendo. Actually, the ship game, we never even really touched on that. I don't remember what's that called, but it's the spaceship that connects to your controller, and you can swap out pieces.
Yeah.
They're good with their integration with toy and game. And seeing that with Skyrim, I was like, really?
Dishonored, which is not a game.
I don't know.
It's almost
an original or the DLC.
It's somewhere in between. It's kind of remember with Wolfenstein, and they had the New Order, but then they had the Old Blood, which was a standalone.
Okay, so it's still that. Dishonored 2, but it's a different story for them.
Yeah, it's Dishonored Death of the Outsider. It's not a DLC, it's a standalone adventure, but don't
Yeah.
expect the same amount of content as the full game, right?
The games, okay. So it's almost like a Far Cry Dragon Blood or whatever that
Yeah,
one's
Blood
called.
Dragon, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And okay, that makes sense. Yeah, or even Assassin's Creed did that.
Yeah,
one time there.
Yeah, they did.
So,
They did
okay.
that with a couple other things. Evil
Yeah.
Within 2, okay.
I was actually excited about that.
Yep, I
That's
still
the
haven't
one game I can
beat
say.
the first one. I still haven't. I did it for
No?
a Halloween stream. I think was that last
yeah.
year before,
Yeah.
and I stayed up, got like really far through it, but I ended up not being able to finish it on stream, and haven't went
Right.
back to it yet. But yeah, that game was disturbing.
It was good. It was
really
real good. And some scenes in that I still just have nightmares. I don't know
Yeah.
what the second one's gonna
Oh
do.
god, yeah. What were those weird, those weird chicks like with the spider girl things?
Oh yeah, no, she was great.
Oh my god.
I think she probably come back. I guarantee she's gonna come back for this game. But
and then-
honestly, like even the rest of their stuff, the way that they announced all their stuff with the Bethesda land and all that,
Yeah.
it was interesting. It was cool, but you could tell they were just showing off. They were trying to
Yeah.
show off, and
I mean, even Wolfenstein 2, I mean, I've always had a soft spot for Wolfenstein, back from the original, having the little demo disc,
right.
share play
one
is what they
actually-
used to call it back then, share play.
Yeah, SharePlay. Yeah.
Um,
No, that one looks interesting. I want to see
Yeah,
it. Even
yeah.
the trailer for that, everyone's like, "What is
It does look
this?"
cool. I mean, whenever Wolfenstein 3D was first remade, and that was on the Quake 3 engine on PC,
Yeah.
that was all. I've still got that's called Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I've still got the discs kicking about with
Really?
the CDs.
Oh, wow.
That
is-
I couldn't get it to run though, unfortunately. But
Oh.
I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But
At least you have them. Yeah.
yeah, Wolfenstein. But even so, that sounds like some cool stuff. Still, for me, I think Bethesda was at the bottom of the pile this year.
It was downhill. They had a couple good, interesting games, but again, a lot of them were expected, and a lot of them, like, we kind of already knew. We knew they were coming out.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything new or fancy or special. Like when it ended, I was watching another streamer watch it on that, and all four of them on there were just mouths open, like jaw drop, being like, "Was that it? Like that's really all they're doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It was probably the bigger letdown for me. I don't know. Like I was just expecting more because I wanted a new Elder Scrolls, and we're not getting.
Yeah.
That really bummed me out.
Not anytime soon.
No.
It's funny, speaking of streamers, I mean, one of the most streamed games at the minute was another big announcement, and that was during Xbox, something that it was mentioned earlier, but we didn't talk about, and that, of course, is
Yeah.
PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I mean, that is funny. Like, if you've ever watched Dr. Disrespect lately, he plays a lot of it, and oh my god, like, he'll just bitch about it as well. He says this is the most... It's the most crappiest game that rewards pansies who sit in grass,
Yeah.
whereas his whole kind of mentality is, vicious, fast, momentum,
Yeah.
and but yeah, so PlayerUnknown's
actually
Battleground is obviously not
Well-
exclusive because it's on PC, but
Yeah.
coming to Xbox.
Well, you could tell that, like, the consoles must have been looking at this. Did it have a release date?
I don't think they said.
No, not yet. Well, because it's not technically done on PC yet.
Well, no. It's still,
But like they noticed it just blew up on PC. So the consoles must have been like, hey, what games can we come out that are like this? Like, what can we do? Like, give us ideas. And Xbox was like, screw it, let's just take that game.
I'm just
Like,
I'm just double checking. No, there was no exact date. They said the formal release will be later this year on Xbox, and they confirmed that it will receive Xbox One X specific enhancements, but he didn't clarify what exactly those would be.
Probably what I think Arc also announced, that they are bringing their high graphics, their high PC graphics to Xbox One X. So PUBG
Same
is
with
probably doing the same.
Minecraft in 4K. But, it was funny. We talk about Minecraft 4K, right? And people go, what the hell is the point? Well, let me tell you.
That block's going to look so good.
You're absolutely right. You go from a block that is made of 52 by 52 voxels to something like, I don't know, 600. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does look amazing. And I know it's easy to just say, what the hell, who
Just
cares
to
about
laugh at that
Minecraft?
one. It's
But
gonna be good.
it's, for me, it's like Lego, right? We all loved Lego as a kid. Correct? Most of us. Right?
Classic Lego, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
But
stuff that
if
you just
we're
get to build anything
honest, we've outgrown Lego. But
Hmm.
with that being said, if you had to sit down and play with Lego right now, I guarantee you'd still have a good time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's how I view Minecraft. We grow out of it. You know, I'm more interested about the Division or Siege and all these types of things.
Yeah.
But at the same
Well,
time, I could
it's
sit
always
down and
fun.
chill. It is. It's always fun.
Yeah. So it's good to just sit back and relax and just go build something or mess around in Minecraft every now and then. Like when I first heard of that game, I was like, that's really dumb. But then I played it, and anyone who plays it gets hooked for a good week. Like it just happens. I don't know. But seeing that come to Xbox One X,
Yeah.
that's hilarious.
But no, so PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, that's obviously another big kind of, well, I suppose a feather in the Xbox camp, so to speak. You know, not necessarily
It is,
a
yeah.
game breaker, but it'll be interesting to see.
We'll have to see if it ever gets announced for PS4 or anything. I don't know. Unless Xbox just bought it out or something, made a good deal with them.
I
So,
just don't know. Just don't know.
yeah. Cross-platform, maybe? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, could be a possibility. We'll just have to see. It'll be interesting to see
Well-
with the One X, will we finally get mouse and keyboard support? Because if it does, that would be another game
Well, I saw
changer.
another interesting picture. It was Minecraft based.
Mhm.
It had Xbox shaking hands with the Switch, being like, "Hey, you want to play Minecraft?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, cool, sure."
Yes, because
So-
they're having cross-platform on Minecraft. The kind of bone of contention for the Nintendo Switch users is they'll have to make an Xbox Live sign-in because
Okay,
the
so if you already
crossplay-
have one,
yeah, you're fine,
Yeah.
you're fine. But that's how the crossplay is going to work. Is going to be via Xbox Live.
so technically you get to sign in on your Xbox Live and play Minecraft, but using the Switch.
Yes.
That is a very interesting way to do that. I wonder what else they're going to do that with.
Well, this is
now.
the thing. I mean, a lot of
If Switch-
devs are
yeah.
saying now in this day and age, there's very few things that are stopping cross-platform play, aside from the actual manufacturers themselves. I mean, it's the thing
Yeah.
with Sony is kind of, in some regards, flat out refusing things, but it probably comes into that argument, you know, especially if
Yeah.
you've got Xbox saying to Nintendo, well, look, we'll use Live. We've already got that in place. And if for
Yeah.
Nintendo, they'll be like, oh, well, that's actually cool. That's great. That saves us the job. But with Sony,
Well,
of course, it's a different deal because they're like, well, wait a minute. No,
Yeah.
we've got, you know, our PlayStation Plus. No, why can't we use PlayStation Plus? No, screw you. Xbox Live's better. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah,
blah, 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 blah.
exactly. Well, and the hard part about that is Nintendo's never had a good online chat system or anything, you know?
Have you seen what
Apparently-
their chat system is for Switch?
An app, apparently, right?
You need a mobile phone. The
Yeah,
official
or like
headsets...
a tablet or
The
something.
official headset has cables. One goes to your Switch, the other goes to your mobile phone or tablet.
no.
With the app. What in the hell were they thinking? Who thinks that's cool? You know, I mean,
it's like-
your target demographic, I thought was kind of kids anyway. But
Yeah.
they don't all have iPhones and shit.
Well,
you know, I mean, what?
Coming from Japan,
Well,
I'm-
over there, yeah.
it's different. Yeah,
It's different. I mean, I saw the same in Korea, where, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, kids.
So a lot of them
Yeah.
do have it. You know, they use their phone even for like ID and stuff. So
it's just another
knows
case
how
of
that's gonna
the
go.
the East. Some
Well,
some
yeah.
things from the East don't translate well in the
Yeah.
West. Then
well, and it's just hilarious. It's like Nintendo's looking at it like, oh, PS4, they have a chat system that works really well. It's like the same thing as Xbox. No, screw that. We'll just screw around. We'll do something else. It doesn't matter. Like, let's not just use everything anyone else is doing. No. We'll go do this. Like, yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. It's ready or not.
Oh, the name's ringing a bell. The name's ringing a bell, but I can't place it. Was that the Tell me that was some kind of shooter, right? Or no? Let me Google.
Yeah, good old Google. It's the best way to do it. Yeah, I've never actually heard of that either.
Yeah, tactical first person. Yeah. I remember it now. It's coming back to me now. It's coming back to me. that one, that did actually pique my interest a little bit. Looked, there was very little actual gameplay, but it was whenever the tagline is Special Weapons and Tactics, which of course is SWAT. One of my favorite games years ago was SWAT 3 on PC. And again, well, coming from a military background and then later on actually instructing troops how to tactically move in buildings. I was a MOUT trainer for a couple of years, just military operations in urban terrain. So SWAT, that game, SWAT 3, was just a really good representation of what we actually did, how we would stack up, your number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 man, and, you'd go in, you had your points of domination. So SWAT, I used to love, absolutely loved SWAT. So that, Ready or Not, didn't see much gameplay. I only saw the little reveal trailer, which was mainly just like nice flashy stuff and showing folk getting suited up, an American flag, guy kind of standing over.
Right.
But yeah, it did look cool.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens with the gameplay. It might actually be pretty interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm a sucker for tactical shooters, has to be said. Right, I want to close things up. So again, hey, I'll lead off here with my overall thoughts of this year's E3. And I think it was very in the middle. There were things that stood out, there were things that didn't. I don't think it was as huge as some of the ones we've had in years past. I also think a lot of this year's E3 had a focus on the games that are coming out next year. A lot of the big things for me is like Anthem, oh, that's next year. Other thing, oh, that's next year. So I think, it was quite looking ahead. I mean, for me, nowadays, I think E3 finds itself in a very strange position because we've got CES, right, the Consumer Electronics Show, and that's supposed to be all about the hardware and the tech. And we've got Gamescom, which is in Germany, and Gamescom is supposed to be all about the games. Like, I can guarantee you, Destiny 2, we will see a hell of a lot more about that, in Gamescom. Probably Anthem as well. Gamescom is always where all the big games come out. So you've got these two conventions that specialize, one on hardware, one on software. Well, where does that leave E3?
We actually skipped over the hardware that was announced at E3 this year, like the Intel i9. Their announcement was, what they did with that computer was really crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's a reason.
Hardware. It just reminded me.
And you're exactly right. And the reason I didn't go into that is because, as you know,
it's a whole other topic.
Well, we've talked about the i9 on here.
We have, yeah. Seeing it in action, it really opened my eyes to it. Like, I saw the specs and stuff, but seeing it in action, I was like, wow.
That's another thing about Destiny 2 is they've confirmed that Destiny 2 will actually, however many cores your PC has, its CPU, it will take advantage of.
That's really good.
And that is probably one of the first games that I can think of that can honestly say that. Because, most will maybe use more than 2. You're lucky if you can find a game that will use 4 cores. But they're saying, no, this will actually, kind of like how, like XSplit or any other streaming software, it'll automatically scan how many cores you've got, and it'll divvy up the load automatically, spread it across them.
Right.
Destiny 2 is going to do the exact same thing, so...
That's actually really good.
It's pretty badass.
I don't know, for Intel, it's not worth the price range for me at all. But I know some of the top guys are definitely going to do it, and it's going to be great, but... anyway, keep going. Sorry, I know I just...
No, you're fine. But... You're fine. No, you're absolutely right. But I feel that E3 is in a strange spot where it's neither one of those shows, and to be fair, E3 does, it predates them, I'm pretty sure. I think 94, the first E3 was when the PlayStation 1 was being unveiled, I'm pretty sure, the original PlayStation.
Probably? I wasn't watching them at that point.
I'm pretty sure the E3 predates, but the I just think that it's trying to do a little bit of everything, and this is where people get, like the greater public go, oh look, Microsoft, oh they talked about hardware, but they should be talking about games, and then it's like, but wait a minute, it's the Electronic Entertainment Expo. It's not like the Gamescom. It's not a gaming, games. And I think the other thing is too is because they've now opened it to the public. It's cool that they've done that, but at the same time, like I don't know if you saw any of the tweets from the original PSP, but the lines were horrible because they didn't actually separate industry people from the public. You still had to wait in the same queue.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? You're a journalist or you're a dev, obviously the big get, Phil Spencer and stuff, they just go to the back door.
They'll just walk over, yeah.
But like your normal...
You're nobody... But,
well, if you're a somewhat of a somebody, you're in the industry.
Yeah, somewhat of a somebody, yeah.
Because you've got a special badge that says industry, and you get access to more stuff. They had to wait in the same queue as the public, which...
That's not really fair. I don't know. Doesn't seem to make sense.
But so that was the thing. This year was the first one in history where 15,000 ticketed consumers were able to attend E3, and
That's
allegedly...
Cool.
It's really, really cool, but a lot of folk are saying, they need to really kind of get their stuff together.
Yeah, they probably should have thought of that before doing it. But I feel like a lot of these companies, they don't really think of that. They just do it and then hope it goes well.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, my best of show, even so, and it does sound ridiculous because we saw so little of it, but for the first time in a long time, I can honestly, hand on heart, say I'm hyped. And I hate using that word. I hate being hyped. But I am hyped for Anthem. I just have really... And unfortunately, I'm setting the standard so high that all it can do is either, disappoint me, or maybe, hit it right on.
Just barely,
Just barely. And as far as the worst thing, I mean, I don't know. I mean... Bethesda they were at a low point for me, but I wouldn't say, they were absolutely horrible, disgusting. I mean, I don't know. I think the worst thing about E3 was just that it was a very middle of the road one, that just nothing, a lot of it was talking about stuff for next year, both camps, Microsoft, a lot of hardware talk, and then even PlayStation. Yeah, well, they did focus on games, but they keep trying to sell us their VR stuff. So yeah, overall, if someone told me that they loved this year's E3, I could get that. I can understand the aspects why they would say that. On the other hand, if someone said, man, this year's E3 was crap, I could also understand that, because there were aspects of that as well. So, I know it sounds wishy-washy, but I just feel it was a very middle-of-the-road E3. I still enjoyed it. I still watched as many conferences as I could. Those damn time zones. When it's West Coast, when it's Pacific time.
That sucks for you.
It does suck. Yeah. The Xbox one was fine. That was 10 p.m. The Sony one was 2 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little rough. That gets a little tough for you, yeah.
What about yourself, Kronos? What about yourself?
Well, I can see where you're coming from. It's very down the center, but I felt like it was completely flipped upside down for me.
Fair enough.
Everything I expected did not happen, and all of the unexpected is what I got the most excited for. I didn't expect, I was like, oh, Switch is going to be really good, but I really did not think Nintendo was going to be like, here's all these really neat games coming out. Sure, a lot of them look kind of kiddish, but they have all this really great... I didn't expect that at all, to actually be as pumped as I was for Nintendo, even PS4. The stuff that they ended up, again, the games for that, like Monster Hunter. I've always wanted a Monster Hunter on a big console. They tried it on Wii, it went downhill. All the little handhelds, I just can't do it anymore. I want to see Monster Hunter on a big screen, and that's going to be really cool.
That does look cool. I mean, because it looks like possibly more kind of an open world aspect to it, possibly.
Well, yeah, they always kind of were. They go to map base, almost like Destiny, but the world, I feel like this one is going to be bigger, and So but they've always been limited to the handhelds. Like they've never had a bigger console to work with. So just hoping that they do it right, because that's going to be really good. But no, when it came to it, I in my opinion, I'm not a big fan of Ubisoft as a company. Yeah. But I was more excited for their games than one of my favorite developers. We didn't even talk about what FromSoft did because they didn't do anything. Nothing really. I was expecting a lot more from them. I don't even think they had a panel or even talked. I didn't see it. You know, so like there's so much that that just should have happened that didn't, and yeah, I guess we'll see what happens in this year though. Like again, I guess Bethesda, the one thing Bethesda did have going for them was that all these games are announced for this year.
Yes, yeah.
You know, so that was cool. They weren't showing stuff for years to come. They were like, hey, this stuff's not all the stuff we're working on, but here's a little bit of things that you're all getting like this year. You can expect it. So that was kind of good. But compared to that, like there was, again, it's very subpar. Like last year, when I sat down and watched Sony announce their God of War with the whole symphony and all this just crazy stuff happened, where was that this year? I didn't see any great performances.
Or even, maybe this is another reason why this year's E3 disappointed so many folk. You have to think how many last of the E3s has either had something to do with Bloodborne or Dark Souls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
We're missing some AAA titles that people are really excited about, you know? But some of them are coming up. So I guess we'll... Like, I don't even... Oh, even more. No, not even going to get into more stuff about Bethesda. I'm done with that. But, but no, I am quite excited about what's coming. But this year for gaming, it's not... Since the very beginning of the year, we got all these AAA titles, and I have really nothing to look forward to. Maybe one or two games for the entire year. And I figured E3 was going to announce a little more than what it did, for sure. Oh,
speaking of Dark Souls, since I've got you here... I am soon, I don't know when, but I'm gonna enter the darkness, right? Because
no way.
I've got the original, obviously, on backwards compatibility. I've got 2 on PC, and I do have the, what is it, the Fire Faded Edition, or whatever the hell it was, for Xbox
Scholar
One.
The first...
No.
Scholar the First
No.
Sins?
No. Dark Souls 3, the Fire Fades Edition.
I hadn't even heard that. That I'm assuming it all has all the DLC with it.
Has all of the DLC, yeah.
On what system?
Xbox One, sir.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
So I'm going to... I know that you can play them independently of each other, but to give myself a proper baptism fire, I'm going to start with 1, see how I get on, then move to 2, so on and so forth.
No.
I'm fine, I'll get to 3.
Yeah.
I want to live through that experience. But
it's great experience. It
just
is.
Figured whilst I had you here.
Yeah, no, and honestly, I will play through them with you if you want, and I will laugh every time, the whole way through.
Well, I was thinking during the summer, it could be maybe like a daytime streaming thing I might do, possibly. We'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Please stream it, yeah. First impression, honestly, Dark Souls as a first impression thing is probably the best game to see. Because so many people get tilted, they get so mad, or they just start laughing. Like, the most ridiculous stuff's gonna happen because you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, well, see, my buddy Gimboyd, he plays through the original one quite often, and he'll be in Discord, and just the absolute rage.
Oh yeah.
But he says not by any fault of his own. Just like stupid stuff, whether it's pathing or...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Dark Souls 1 was so bad for that. And I get raged quite a bit still. Even though I played them so many times, I've beat all the bosses, I've done so many things, but certain things I'll just get stuck on again. And I'm like, why am I getting stuck here?
I very seldom do get raged, but the only time is maybe Rainbow Six Siege Ranked. That'll sometimes...
I've seen you a couple times get a little...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to in the raids in Destiny... If people did stupid shit, even so we went through and explained things over and over. Sometimes. Not all, usually I'm quite calm and relaxed. But it is possible. I'm only human.
Hey, Gimboy. No, that's actually, I would love to see you play through those.
Yeah, we might do that.
I'll be there for support as well.
Because I've been thinking of upping things and more than just the 4 nights a week, but maybe doing some day stuff during the summer.
Right.
Yeah, I think just closing, another reason why I don't think I'm going to be disappointed by Anthem, and that's because it's BioWare. I'm trying to think when BioWare has ever disappointed me. I can't think. I'm sure maybe they have.
Wow. I didn't know who the developer was. Well, that's a lot of D's in there.
Has there ever been a BioWare game where the story sucked, or there was missing narrative, or all of these types of things?
they've always focused on that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So
And the gameplay looks really good for this one, so maybe they're doing it good.
yeah. Okay.
Actually,
Yeah. See, that's why I shielded myself from Mass Effect. I never had that disappointment.
Okay, well, like a lot of people think it's bad, but where do people really expected it to go? You know, there wasn't anywhere else they could have brought it. They had to do that kind of ending, I feel. And the new one it was really good. The new Mass Effect was amazing for the story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see where the
We
where
shall
Anthem takes
see.
us.
Well, Kronos, it was an absolute pleasure having you on this evening.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it was great. It was nice. It was nice to have a friend from the other side of the pond. You know, hell, because I mean, the last time I was over there was 2003. It's been quite a while since I was
Oh wow.
over in.
Well, I haven't missed much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that. Right, I'm just going to finish off with a quick ad once again for tomorrow's Turing Test giveaway. If you've never seen the game, never heard of it, look, you need to check it out. It was released last year, but it was so fun. Graphically, really good looking game. A first person but puzzly game, but the story is really, really quite good, really kind of gripping. There's a lot of side stuff, little bits of hidden lore and dialogue and everything. So I'm going to be playing it tomorrow, and I'm going to try to not spoil things, but look, I'm afraid we're going to have to spoil some things, the first couple of chapters. But anyway, tune in, watch me play it, and then guess what? You too could be the proud owner of the Turing Test for PC. I wish I had it on PC. I'm actually going to be playing it on the Xbox One. Whereas on the PC version, it looks even better. It's even smoother. But yeah, that'll be tomorrow, 9 p.m. UK time. So whatever time it is where you are now, an hour before, right? An hour before. But once again, that is, of course, from our friends at Scholarly Gamers, scholarlygamers.com. Make sure to check them out. Some brilliant team of writers and, a couple other content creators here and there that are kicking about.
Yeah, we try.
We try. But yes, we shall call it an evening. We've went over what usually we just do an hour, but hey, we had a lot to talk about this evening. And once again, Kronos, thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who popped by. Slender, thanks for coming back, man. Thanks for giving us some outside, opinions as well. It's always much appreciated. If you've tuned in live, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this at a later date, quite, good chance you're watching it right here on scholarlygamers.com itself. Thank you so much. Make sure to share out, retweet, whatever you can do. Spread that love and get all your buddies checking out Scholarly Gamers. Thank you, everyone. That is, hold on, I didn't get my last scene ready, did I, in advance? I know I meant to, but I didn't, because I'm like that. Procrastinator. Right, do that. I'll need to talk to you, too, about, they just released XSplit 3.0 yesterday.
Oh, no.
Oh. Anyway, right, we'll be talking in just a couple of minutes. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow for the Turing Test giveaway stream.
See you guys later.